So I said I wasn't going to watch it. I told myself I wasn't going to watch it. I said ever since the announcement that I wasn't going to watch it. So I watched it. Okay, bit of background. If you've been on my channel for a while, then you know that I am a Doctor Who fan. I have been a Doctor Who fan since the dawn of time, and I mean literally the dawn of time. My sister and I have been watching Doctor Who since we were like 3 or 4, mainly because our dad was a fanboy, so even before the reboot started we were like watching like classic episodes and stuff with him. So basically Doctor Who has been my life. I've grown up with it. It's been my show. And I don't mean that like it's my show, no one else's. I just mean as in like I've grown up with it. Like I have literally grown up with it. It has made me laugh, cry, smile, cry again, feel emotional, be sad a lot. I've basically gone through the motions. In primary 2, just to give a bit of scope, when I was in primary 2, that was when the reboot happened, and I went around telling my entire class that aliens were going to crash into Big Ben. Because I was so excited about aliens crashing into Big Ben. And I sometimes wonder why I had no friends. So that gives a bit of scope of how long I've been around in the Doctor Who fandom, a Whovian. And of course I am nowhere near in it as long as a lot of the people who love the classic episodes. But obviously I can't have been. I was born in 1998. As much as I would have loved to have been there from the start, I was born in 1998 and that's impossible. If you also know my channel, you will know that I was not happy with the decision for a female doctor. And before people get angry at me and say, oh misogyny, oh you're narrow-minded, oh, I had given up on Doctor Who long before this. I stopped watching when Clara came in for a while because Clara did my head in. It was like Clara Who. And then I tried watching again when Bill came in, but that series wasn't very good either. And I'd basically just given up on it, and this decision for a female doctor did not change my mind, and I figured that I wasn't going to watch it. But as you know, I watched it because I saw all these comments on Twitter and stuff about how good it was and how the episode was great. And I wanted to be able to say that I'd watched it and I'd put my own opinion forward, because I don't like this thing that people do when they say that they don't like something but they haven't watched it and they haven't seen it to be able to put their opinion down. They don't really have a lot of like ground to stand on why they don't like it. So I decided I would watch the episode so that I could say that I watched it, and if I didn't like it and I didn't like Jodie Whittaker's portrayal, then I could say why and what bothered me. So I watched the episode with an open mind, which was really hard because I really thought this female doctor thing was a bad idea. So I tried to watch it with an open mind, I took notes, and basically this is what I'm going to discuss now. What I thought of the first episode of season 11. Have we got to season 11? I think we have gotten to season 11. The Woman Who Fell to Earth. What an original title. I just want to kind of add a pretext here. I can't ride a bike either, and I'm 20 years old, so, and I don't have like a coordination disease. I just have like shit balance. So I really resonated with Ryan struggling to learn how to ride a bike, except his family were being supportive. When I was trying to learn how to ride a bike, I was like, pedal, Aaron, pedal! Why don't you balance and pedal? It was a very stressful time for me, but it was nice to see some representation of adults who can't ride bikes, because I can't ride a bike, and I can't swim either, but that's something else entirely. I didn't see Nan in any of the promos. She's not in any of the posters, so basically what that means is Nan is gonna die, isn't she? That was pretty much what I thought. Nan is gonna die and it's gonna be emotional and blah blah blah. That's the first thing I thought, because I saw Nan and Bradley Walsh was there, and I was just like, okay, I've seen Bradley Walsh in posters and stuff, but I haven't seen Nan, so Nan must bite the dust, tragically. Poor Nan. I'm gonna say one thing. The police part got me. Because when he said, I'm gonna call the police, I was sitting thinking, oh, the TARDIS is gonna come crashing down, it's gonna be like Amelia Pond all over again, like I wanted a policeman. But it didn't. Instead it was Yasmin. Yasmin's her name, isn't it? Yaz? It was him calling Yasmin, which I will say I wasn't expecting. I thought it was going to be like that was when Jodie Whittaker was going to make her entrance and it was going to be like, oh, police box, doctor, stuff like that. So that took me off guard. I appreciated that. It wasn't as predictable as I thought it was going to be, which is always nice. Regeneration sickness. Regeneration sickness. Regeneration sickness is kind of being overdone, but then that's another unpopular opinion, I think, because I also have the opinion that the way of regenerating got a bit overdone. It was nice with Christopher Eccleston. It was good with David Tennant, but that could be because everything leading up to David Tennant regenerating had me as an emotional wreck, so I kind of didn't really think about how he regenerated. Matt Smith's, I liked Matt Smith's because it was just like, bam, Peter Capaldi. And I did not watch Peter Capaldi regenerating because that entire episode was an insult to William Hartnell and his portrayal of the First Doctor, and I just wasn't going to give that any viewers because I just wasn't. I might make a video on that someday, but I wasn't going to give that credit. So I don't know how exactly Peter Capaldi regenerated into Jodie Whittaker, but she mentioned an explosion or something. Answers in the comments, please. But this whole regeneration sickness thing, it's something that's been going on for a bit too long in New Who. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've watched every single regeneration in Classic Who, but I have watched a few, and regeneration sickness was never really a thing. As far as I remember on the regenerations that I've watched, I'm pretty sure when Sylvester McCoy regenerated into Paul McGann, he had a bit of a memory issue, I think. It's been a while since I've watched the movie. I know Tom Baker went a bit manic for a while. He was able to chop a brick in half with his hand, and he was able to, like, you know, he was really like, ugh, because obviously I've watched Tom Baker's regenerate episode from John Pertwee into Tom Baker, obviously, because that's Robot. That's a classic. God, I sound like such a hipster, but yeah, you know what I mean. And then Spearhead from Space is when John Pertwee first came in, and actually I think he was sick. He was in the hospital for a while, so it does come in sometimes, but I feel like they overuse it a bit too much, this whole passing out thing. It was okay when David Tennant did it, and I'm not just saying, oh god, please don't make me have to keep saying during this that, oh, I'm just saying, don't make me say that, oh, if I say David Tennant's better at this, don't think that I'm saying that because he's a man, because I don't mean that. Oh god, I hate trying to be politically correct. What I mean is it worked when it was written into David Tennant's story. I don't mean that it worked for David Tennant because David Tennant's a man and David Tennant's better. I think it worked for David Tennant because it was written in a particular way. And this whole thing when the 13th Doctor was like lying on the sofa and she was glowing and like that shit came out of her mouth. What was that? Are we gonna like fucking pilot fish coming again? Because that was pretty much what happened to David Tennant. And I just feel like it's a lazy way of kind of dealing with the regeneration. It didn't happen with Matt Smith. Like, he had a bit of a, but he didn't need to sleep. He didn't need to rest. And I thought, and I appreciated that because I didn't want them reusing the same trope over and over and over again. But I just didn't like it. It felt like it was just reusing what happened in the Christmas Invasion when she was glowing and the shit came out of her mouth because. And then I was convinced that it was going to call an alien here because that's what happened when in the Christmas Invasion. I was like, holy shit, the pilot fish are coming and then the cigarettes are going to show up and we're going to have a whole party. But no, that didn't happen, thank god. Jodie Whittaker suited Peter Capaldi's suit, which is nice. I have a thing for women in suits, so don't just sue me. But she really suited Peter Capaldi's suit, and it's such a shame that she has to get into that circus suit at the end. I'm sorry, I don't like it. Honestly, when I first saw it, I thought they were taking the mickey. It just doesn't work for me. It looks weird. I know that the costume doesn't matter, because ultimately it doesn't. If the actor in the costume can put the betrayal across, then that's great, that's fantastic. I just think she suited Peter Capaldi's clothes more than she suits the actual 13th Doctor outfit, which is a shame. I'm loving Bradley Walsh's character. I didn't think I would, but I actually quite enjoyed him in this episode. I thought he was funny. He added the kind of what the hell are you people doing kind of humour that I think we need, because sometimes it's a bit unrealistic, like how everyone's just like, let's go fight aliens, and no one's just like, why? Why are we putting ourselves in danger? So I like that they have that in there. But I don't understand how this "I don't believe in aliens" thing still flies, because how many times have aliens been here now? Are we just gonna... is it because of the whole crack thing with Matt Smith? Like, everyone just forgot and that's it? And I can't exactly recall if Earth was invaded at any time in Peter Capaldi's era, because honestly I remember zilch from Peter Capaldi's era, which is a shame because Peter Capaldi had a lot of potential, it was just badly written. But this whole aliens thing is getting a bit hard in the 11th series of a show where aliens are constantly invading Earth. But I let it slide because I didn't watch Peter Capaldi's era, I don't know if there's an explanation for that, and I can't make comments on things that I'm not 100% sure on, because I don't intend to watch Peter Capaldi's era with Clara, because I just can't. I can't stand her, literally. So this alien is taking teeth and he's putting them on his face, which is fucking sick. But when they first did the tooth thing, the first thing that came into my head was, oh my god, they have a tooth reference in there because someone said they didn't like Jodie Whittaker's teeth. That was the first thing that came into my mind, because there was like comments, obviously, when Jodie Whittaker first got announced as the Doctor, and someone said, I don't like her teeth, which is shite criticism, might I just say. Absolutely shite. For one thing, if you're going to criticise someone, their appearance is kind of the lowest blow you can go to, because it means that you can't think of anything else and you're just like, I don't like her teeth. And if you don't have anything constructive to say, don't say it at all. But yeah, this guy's taking teeth and I was just like, oh my god. It's because someone said they didn't like Jodie Whittaker's teeth, isn't it? But no, it came into a thing that he's wearing them on his face, which is fucking sick, and I actually really like that. I think Doctor Who needs a darker edge, because it got very la-di-da in the past few years, and you go, la-di-da, we can break the rules, I'm Peter Capaldi, I have sunglasses, I can drive into a Viking era in a tank and nothing's gonna happen. I think that, yeah, I did watch some of it, don't think I didn't, I did. Playing Pretty Woman on a guitar, by the way. Don't get me started on that. It all got very jokey. And I appreciate that it's going back to being a bit darker, a bit more serious, and this guy wearing teeth on his face that he takes from his victims is the exact kind of edge that Doctor Who has needed for a very, very long time. So I'm really happy about that. The screwdriver. Oh my god, the screwdriver. When I first saw this screwdriver, because it came up on my Facebook or Twitter or something, I was like, oh my god, what have they done? At this point, when I saw the sonic screwdriver, I thought, they are making a mockery out of this. I was convinced that they were trying to make Jodie Whittaker look as stupid as possible, because that sonic screwdriver looks like... it looks like a phallic symbol, and I was convinced that it was a joke. I thought someone was going to come along and say, oh yeah, that's not what it is, this is what it really looks like. And this is coming from someone who owns like 5 sonic screwdrivers, and I just don't like it. I think it looks horrible. I think it looks atrocious. It looks so clunky in her hand. It's supposed to be something you can quickly just whip out, and it just looks horrible. Oh god. I suppose it can be excused by the fact that she whipped it together. She built it. She used what she had in that warehouse and she smacked it all together, and I suppose that could be the excuse for why it looks so shite. But it doesn't. It just. Whoever designed that should be sacked. I don't like it. Can we give a shout out to the convenient If I Die video that pretty much explains about the missing sister. I know there had to be some way to get the exposition out, and I know that, like, there's only an hour in these episodes. There's 10 episodes and they're all an hour long. So I know there was only an hour to get all this exposition out, but the convenient If I Die video was a bit too convenient, but it kind of makes sense why he made it. And basically the whole explanation is that Mr. Tooth Guy is like is a member of some sort of higher like authority on his planet, and they play like humanoid Hunger Games, humanoid battle royale, and they send aliens into Earth, and they have to find this one alien and this one human and like bring them back and like in stasis, and that's why that guy's sister went missing. And basically they had to stop him from getting the guy from the train, and that big electricity thing was like a cheating thing, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what it was. And it was basically about how, oh, no one human isn't special. We can't just ditch this guy because that's not how the Doctor rolls. Because it's not how the Doctor rolls, and that's how the Doctor has never rolled. The rolling he doesn't do in that situation. The rolling he doesn't do in that situation. She doesn't do in that situation. The key cliche was a bit much. And this cliche where they're just like, oh, we need to do this thing. Here are the keys. It's one of these ones. Find out which one it is, quick. That's a bit overdone. that was a bit of a lazy way of like creating tension and like getting people like to be like, oh no, are they gonna find it in time? Of course they were gonna fucking find it in time. That's not how the key trope works. Of course they were gonna find it in time. Wiki on how to operate a crane, having the phone out and just like reading it. I find that kind of funny. But how do they have Wi-Fi up there? How do they even get a fucking signals or 4G up on the top of a fucking crane? Hi, I'm Erin. I cherry pick and poke holes. Nice to meet you. Something I will give this episode credit for is that the scale was a lot larger, especially the finale part with all the cranes and the jumping and stuff. I would have laughed my ass off if the Doctor had have fell. Just because how dramatic it was being, like a slow motion jumping onto the crane, and everyone was just like, oh my god. And I was just like, if she falls, I gotta laugh my fucking ass off. She didn't fall, of course she didn't fall. And yeah, it felt real. Recently Doctor Who has gotten it hadn't felt very real. Like, it felt very special effects. No more people in costumes kind of thing, and it always felt very rushed and very closed in and very small. I think a good example of that is the Zygon episode. I think it was Zygons. Was it Zygons or was it Cybermen? No, I think it was Zygons. With Bill and Peter Capaldi. It felt very small and enclosed. It was all kind of in the same area, and it didn't feel very real. In this episode they were running around loads of places. They were on a train, they were on the roof of a building, they were on the cranes. It felt a lot bigger. It made the universe feel a lot bigger. Like, they weren't all just trapped in this one area. They were going all over the place, and everything was a lot more larger. That area where they were doing the bike thing was beautiful. Like, I would love to go there with my camera and just spend all day there taking pictures. That place was amazing. And they seem to be putting a lot more effort into the camera work, like that shot when they were sitting on the cliff at the start and all that stuff. They're definitely putting a lot more thought into the show now. And whether that was ignited by the fact that Jodie Whittaker is the Doctor now or not, I don't know, but I really appreciate that they're putting effort into it again, because it felt for a very long time that they'd given up on Doctor Who and they were just kind of slugging their way through it. But it actually seems like they're putting effort into it again, which I really appreciate. Jodie Whittaker's realisation that she's the Doctor. I call her Jodie Whittaker because there's a lot of debacle about whether it's the 13th Doctor, the 12th Doctor. Do you count John Hurt? Do you not count John Hurt? And I'm just going to call her Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. Jodie Whittaker's Doctor's realisation, oh, I'm the Doctor. It didn't feel real. And what I mean by that, because this was coming eventually, I think he's on you that this was coming, it was my view on what Jodie was like as the Doctor. Jodie Whittaker is a great actress. I've seen her in many things, and I don't think that she was bad at acting in this episode at all. But it feels like she's imitating a lot of the old Doctors instead of trying to get a portrayal of her own. The first thing that came into my head when she first landed on that train was Matt Smith. It's like she's doing Matt Smith. And maybe that's just because she's just regenerated and it's doing that thing where, oh, like, she's getting confused in her different alters and things like that. But it doesn't feel like she's come into her own as her own, like, portrayal of the Doctor, and maybe that'll change as the series progresses, because, and I didn't expect that I would say this, I do intend to watch the rest of this season to see how it goes. I hope she comes into her own, because I want Doctor Who to do well. My family this is like our show. But to be fair, most of my family have given up on it too. Like, my dad and my sister wouldn't be watching this. And I think they'd crucify me if they knew that I didn't get angry at the episode and I didn't mind it as much. I know my friend Neve will. Neve's the one who I do my podcasts with. Neve is going to crucify me, which will be fun. But I didn't hate it. I wasn't particularly, like, astounded by it. I wasn't overwhelmed by it. I wasn't overwhelmed by Jodie Whittaker's portrayal of the Doctor. I didn't think it was anything particularly special. But I didn't hate it. And that's why I'm giving the rest of the show a chance. Because I want to be able to say that I watched it. And this is my opinion on it. And this is why. And I'm not going to be one of those people who's constantly like, oh, I loved it, or oh, I hate it. I'm going to be open and honest about everything, if that makes sense. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who are like, oh, it's brilliant because Jodie Whittaker's in it. And I feel like there's going to be people, oh, it's shite because Jodie Whittaker's in it. Poor Jodie Whittaker. And I want to be kind of like the in-between. The person who's kind of just like in the middle, like, okay, you both have points. Here's what I think. And that's basically where I am at the minute. I want Jodie Whittaker to come into her own, because at the moment it feels like she's imitating past portrayals of the Doctor. And I don't think that's a good start, because you're supposed to come into your own, you know? You're supposed to have your own portrayal. Every Doctor's different, you know? So I really hope she comes into her own as the series progresses. I really hope. They were talking about the family thing at the end, after the funeral, and they mentioned the Doctor's family, and they were like, do you have a family? And the first thing that came into my head was, how does that work? Like, I've always known about the Doctor's family and shit like that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is that if we're going to go with this idea that the Doctor can regenerate into different genders, if any Time Lord can, then how do they do the title thing? Like, do they explain to their kids, like, oh, I'm not dad anymore, I'm mom. Or I'm not mom anymore, I'm dad. Or I'm not your sister anymore, I'm your brother. Do they just sort of like, I suppose because it's in their biology, they might just go with the flow and just go, oh, you're a woman now, hi mom. It's just, I can't imagine that kind of thing, but I suppose they're aliens and they're Time Lords and anything is possible, so what do I know? Are we going to have like a quest for the TARDIS now? Because that kind of seems fun, a quest for the TARDIS. But I feel like we might find it in the next episode but I still think it would be fun for them to go around looking for the TARDIS and, you know, where is it? I'm interested to see what the interior of the TARDIS is going to be. I don't think it's been released. I haven't really been keeping up with Doctor Who news, so I don't really know if the interior of the TARDIS for Jodie Whittaker is changing or if it's already changed or anything like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing it because I miss it. I miss Doctor Who, believe it or not. I miss it. But they're dead. Nope. No, they're dead. They are in space. They are dead. Unless there's an explanation next episode on why they are not dead, then they're dead, okay? Until I am told otherwise why they are not dead. They are dead. They're all dead. Jodie Whittaker's gonna regenerate again into Anne Robinson, and it's all gonna be a new era again, because you can't breathe in space. I'm sorry, it's bullshit. You can't breathe in space. So, until we're told, which we probably will be, let's be honest, until we're told, oh, there was an air bubble, or oh, we're in a certain space we can breathe, they're dead. Overall, I was not enraged by this episode. I thought I was going to be, and I wasn't. And I will hold my hands up and say, I was not angered by it, which I thought I was going to be, because Doctor Who's been shit for years now, and I thought this isn't going to change anything. I don't feel like Jodie Whittaker's like a groundbreaking doctor. I'm putting the whole first female doctor in history thing aside. I don't feel like she's groundbreaking material at the minute. This whole breaking the glass ceiling thing, it's cute, but I'm not buying it at the minute, based on her portrayal in this first episode. But I'm open-minded, and I'm going to keep watching to see how she progresses, because, as I say, Jodie Whittaker is a good actress. I've seen her in other things, so I want to see how this goes, and I want to see where they go with it. One thing I will give the show credit for is that the past couple of years they've had a habit of digging at men and like stuff like that, and I just wasn't for that. You know, the whole, when that Time Lord regenerated back into a woman when Clara died, I think it was in Hellbent, or it was Hellbent, the Heaven Sent, whichever one it was, when she said, "Oh, I'm a woman again." How do you handle all that ego? That's not necessary. Imagine like a man like changing back into a woman and going, "Oh my god, thank god I'm a man again." How do you handle all that estrogen? It wouldn't fly, okay? It wouldn't fly. And if you can't poke the joke at everyone, then don't poke the joke at all, okay? Because if you can laugh at the joke when it's poked at someone else, then you should be able to laugh at the joke when it's poked at you. And I don't believe women would let that joke fly, okay? So I'm glad that there wasn't any of that, because I wouldn't have been able to bear the show if it could. If the show had gone like, "Oh, thank god I'm a woman again, being a man was unbearable, I couldn't handle it," I would have turned it straight off, because Doctor Who is a legacy that's been going on since 1963. 63? Yes, since 1963 Doctor Who's been going on, and from 1963 to now the Doctor has been a man, and you can't just throw all that away. And I was expecting the show to do that, and I will give it credit for not doing that. Because if Jodie Whittaker had stood up and said something like, "Oh, I'm the Doctor, thank god I'm a woman again, being a man was horrible," I would have turned it off. I wouldn't, no. I'm not taking that. Not from the show that I've grown up with, because it may have been a male, la-di-da-di-da, and all that shit that people complain about, but it was a man that I looked up to my entire childhood, all the way up until now. Because I still watch old Doctor Who, it still gets me in the feels, and I would not have stood for some new head writer coming in and writing some shite about not liking being a man and how it was unbearable. Because that's what I expected, and that's what I thought was going to happen, and it didn't, and I'm relieved for that, and I really hope it doesn't come into the rest of the series, because as I say, if that happens even once, it's going off, and I'm not watching it again. Because man, woman, friggin' alien, friggin' cat, dog, whatever he was still a large role model to a lot of people, including girls. People have this idea that girls couldn't get into Doctor Who, which is bullshit. I friggin' had Doctor Who frubs in my lunchbox in primary school. Me and my sister used to play with our Doctor Who action figures. So this whole idea where, oh, girls can get into Doctor Who until now, that's bullshit. That's bullshit right there. And that was frustrating as hell to listen to, especially coming from a girl who's grown up with Doctor Who since she was 3 or 4 and got excited when there was a Dalek at the St. Patrick's Parade in 2004. That made my St. Patrick's Day. That was so exciting. There was a Cyberman and there was like a Tom Baker with a long scarf. It was brilliant, but off track. If they do that even once, the show, I'm not giving it a chance. If that happens, I'm turning it off. But it hasn't happened so far, so we get to do this. And it's kind of a relief, because I've always wanted to talk about Doctor Who on my channel, and this is a brilliant opportunity to do so. So I'm going to do review videos each week for each episode of Doctor Who, unless something angers me enough to make me turn it off, which hasn't happened. So I think I'm going to call it Diagnosing Doctor Who, because I like the ring to that. So let's see where it goes. Let's just let it happen, let it roll, see where things go. I'm just glad to have Doctor Who back in my life, in whichever form it comes in. Even if it's being enraged by these new episodes or getting to review them, hearing other people's thoughts, it means a lot to me to be able to talk about Doctor Who again. So it was a good first episode. I'm not buying Jodie Whittaker just yet, but I wasn't horrified by her performance or the writing, weirdly enough. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this episode. Let's put it that way. Pleasantly surprised is a good way to put it. So I'll see you next week with another review. Whovians, fellow Who's. Fellow Who's. Oh my god, though, that sounds like Dr. Seuss. Let's stick with Whovians. I'll see you next week, fellow Whovians, for the next episode. Yes, next episode. And check out my other videos if you want. Don't if you don't want to. I don't want you here if you don't want to be here. Subscribe, follow social media. Don't if you don't want to again, because why would I want you here if you don't want to be here? And I'll see you next week. Let's hope this continues. Yeah?